Welcome back to the Jarrett Cast. I'm your host as always, Jarrett Lang, and today's episode is going to be a little bit of a special one. I don't have a co-host right now because I'm working on some other stuff, but there'll be some exciting stuff coming up. I'm pretty sure people will hopefully like it if they actually listen to this, but we'll see. But right now, today's episode is going to be something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. But the reason it's taken me so long to do it is because I've been trying to find the right film to talk about. Because it's about an actor, a certain actor that I doubt anybody under the age of 30 would actually know. But he's on Netflix, Hulu, Cinemax. His movies are everywhere, but that's because he makes direct-to-DVD movies, which are dumb. But he used to be this big actor back in like the 80s and 90s called Steven Seagal. I don't know if anyone actually knows him, but he's quite the character, at least in real life. Not the movies at all. Oh my god, I hate his movies. I absolutely do. That's why it took me so long to make this. Originally, I was going to do this episode on these 3 films I watched in 2017, 2018, around there. But I just hated them so much. I call them the Alexander Trilogy because they're all apparently about the same character, but there's no way that they could actually be about the same character because each film ends off with like an end for his character. Then he appears in the next one. And it first starts off with the last one, which is called Force of Execution. And then apparently A Good Man's the first one. And then Hitman Absolution's the one after that. And no, it's not a Hitman film about the bald man. Steven Seagal's not bald. He always has a stupid fucking... I'm sorry about swearing, but he just has a stupid man bun and ponytail thing that I just hate. I hate it. It's in all of his films, even the ones back in the day that were actually kind of good, like Under Siege, Hard to Kill, On Deadly Ground. He actually made decent action movies back in the day, and now he just makes crappy ones. In Russia, of all places. Like, he films him in Odessa with the same director, Keanu Waxman. So never watch his films. If you see a Keanu Waxman film, don't watch it. Not at all. Never watch it. I'm not kidding. They're terrible. But he films them in Odessa. I'm assuming because it makes less money, or it's because Steven Seagal is a hard-on for Vladimir Putin. I'm not kidding. He said he's one of the greatest world leaders. That can be up for debate for all I care. But you don't say that. He's dumb. He's dumb. And all of his movies are dumb. Like, I know I've been basically saying that he's dumb, and I haven't really explained why, but it's just, oh my god, I hate his movies so much. And I've watched all the ones I can find on Netflix, Hulu, just anywhere I can find them, because I want to get the perfect film to talk about, but I can't. So that's why I'm making this episode, so I can just tell you that the man himself is unwatchable. So in every movie he's in, at least the direct-to-DVD ones, and basically even the ones back in the day, he's terrible. He plays the same character in every single one, and it's either one of 3 things. Ex-CIA Special Forces operative, DEA agent, because for some reason he wants to be a DEA agent. Don't ask me why. Or Aikido Master. Now, Steven Seagal apparently has a 7th grade black belt in Aikido, which I can believe. He's been doing martial arts for long enough. If he didn't have one, that'd be sad. But he always tries flexing his Aikido skills in these movies. And back in the day, it made sense because he made it look cool, and his fight scenes were actually kind of good. But now, because he has a stunt double to do all of them, it's just they don't even look that good. And you can tell it's a stunt double. He even has a voice double. So, in some of his films, there could be a scene where it's his face. He's not even talking. But yeah, oh my god. I'm sorry I'm stopping so much. I hate this man. I always say it's hard to hate somebody. I hate this man. He makes me so angry just to watch his films, and I feel terrible for watching them, but I knew I had to talk about this and pick a movie, but I couldn't pick one, so I just chose to talk about him, as I said before. Now, where was I? But yeah, he just uses a double in all of his films, and I can see it, and no. I get that he's pushing 67, because, you know, you're old. You can't do the same stuff you did back in the day. That makes sense. You can't have, like, you know, a 70-year-old man punching people off of cliffs and, like, shooting people all the time. I mean, you can, but it doesn't always work. But there's no semblance of, like, any acting coming from me. He's kind of like Bruce Willis, because Bruce Willis doesn't even act anymore. He kind of just does a film and barely acts in it, and he just grumbles. Like, I watched Death Wish, which I'll probably talk about another time. Didn't like it, but he basically did that. Now, another thing I don't like about Steven Seagal is, ever since he started doing these direct-to-video films, and even on his short-lived reality TV career, where he was a lawman, but it was dumb, because it was obviously fake. There's one episode that I've watched where he lights a match on fire by shooting it, but you can tell it was faked, because I doubt Steven Seagal could actually do that. There's no way that man could do anything like that. But he always talks as if he were black, which, nothing wrong with, you know, talking the way you talk naturally, but he's changed his accent over the years for no reason. In every film he does, he just talks. And I know he's not supposed to be talking like that. And it's just so annoying. And then he, like, tries using slang and stuff that he can't use. He can't use it because he's just a white, half-Irish man. And he'll probably lie about this, because he'll probably say he picked it up from the blues musicians that he learned from at the age of 5. This man also loves lying about stuff. I have a list here. He has lied about being in the CIA. Like, apparently he did some covert CIA stuff, like training, stuff like that. That man never did that. I can guarantee it. He never did that. He never was taught the blues at the age of 5. He's also a crappy musician. Like, I've listened to his music. It's not good. And he has also lied about being a sex symbol, because apparently he's a sex symbol. You can look him up. I mean, he's probably going to be in the thumbnail for this review, but you can look him up. That man is not a sex symbol, and he just lies about everything. Like, apparently he learned Aikido at a very young age. He didn't. Like, he learned Aikido eventually, but it wasn't, like, at the point where he was. And apparently he opened up a dojo. He was the first American to open up a dojo in Japan. Another lie. I don't even know why he likes lying. If you're already a famous actor, you shouldn't be lying. You already have the credibility you need. And, oh my God, he just lies and lies. And just back on the accent thing, because I know I branched off, and this is kind of, like, not really structured that well, but I just don't like this man, and I'm angry that I've had to watch his films. I've hit a point where I don't want to watch any more of them, and I just need to talk about it, because he sucks. He honestly sucks. In one of his films, called End of a Gun, which is a heist film that's supposed to take place in France, but I know for a fact it was filmed in Odessa, Russia. Oh my God. I hate him. I just hate that man. In one of the fucking films he filmed in Odessa, Russia, that apparently takes place in France, does not. That film was not filmed in France. I know it was filmed in Russia. At least one of the buildings in the background was the same as another one that he filmed in Odessa, Russia. In that film, he says the stupidest line I've ever heard. I had to write it down. I wrote it down when I heard it. I stopped the film. I said, this is the worst line I've ever fucking heard. He said, but it could be an illusion. Now, I'm not going to get into why that line's bad. It speaks for itself. But he didn't need to say it. His character had no reason to say it. His character is just in a standoff with this other dude, and he has a sniper on another tower, so it's like, oh, you think it's going to go this one way, but it could go this other way. No. You don't say that stupid line. And it's not even a matter of script. I feel like it could have been written better. But he also ad-libs his lines. Even back in the 90s, he was ad-libbing lines for no reason. He was just adding in his own lines because of the way he saw things. In this one film that he made called The Glimmer Man, which is about at the end of where his theatrical career ended and he started doing direct-to-DVD films. He had to shoot this one serial killer guy, but Steven Seagal didn't want to do that because Steven Seagal is Buddhist, which, nothing wrong with religion, you know. I can understand why your religion would want you to, like, you know, bar things from certain roles. It's what you believe in, and if you don't believe in the role, don't do it. But he agreed to do it, but he wanted to change up the script, which, again, I mean, I would personally be against if I were a director, because if a film's written a certain way, it should probably go that way. Improvisation and ad-libbing only works in certain films. But Seagal really didn't want to kill the serial killer, who, by all means, murdered a ton of people and probably should have gone to prison, and the serial killer wanted to be shot. So Steven Seagal worked really hard to try and get it so he didn't have to shoot the guy. And then he did it anyways, and then he started ad-libbing lines later in the production saying that he didn't kill him, when in the film he shoots him. Like, I've seen the shot. The man's dead. Like, there's no way that character could make it out of that alive. And, oh my god, it was such a stupid film. They went with the cut where they actually killed him, but it was dumb. Don't watch The Glimmer Man. I could give you a list of films not to watch, but honestly, if it even says it has Steven Seagal in it, skip it. Watch something else. I'm not kidding. You can watch Kindergarten Cop 2. I'd rather watch Kindergarten Cop 2, a movie that I broke down during the middle of because I hated it so much, than rather watch another film starring this man. I hate his film so much, and I tortured myself to try to get the right film to talk about, when in reality, there was no film to ever talk about. There was nothing I ever even needed to talk about. I could have skipped all this pain that I have felt, all this anger towards these stupid films filmed in Odessa, Russia. I don't even hate Russia as like a landmass, but he probably films there for tax cuts. And I'm so tired of looking at Odessa, Russia in every direct-to-DVD Netflix film that I watch with Steven Seagal in it. I don't know why I subjected myself to this. This was terrible. I'm actually angry. But it's over now. I don't have to watch another Steven Seagal film. If you want to watch the one good Steven Seagal film, watch Under Siege. Not the second one, though. The first one. The first one's actually kind of good. It has Gary Busey in it. I love Gary Busey. Can I just talk about Gary Busey now? I'm going to talk a little bit about Gary Busey. Gary Busey had such a great career ahead of him, and then he got in that motorcycle accident and did cocaine and went crazy. He had such a good career in it. He was in Point Break with Keanu Reeves. He had a long and luxurious career ahead of him. And the last thing I remember seeing him in was Celebrity Apprentice. I don't even like Celebrity Apprentice. I only watched it because it was on, but I'd rather talk about any actor other than Steven Seagal, as you can probably tell, because I just talked about Gary Busey. But it's done. I've aired all my grievances about Seagal. He can't hurt me anymore. Unless, you know, he wants to, like, I don't know, kill me for some reason. But I'm just a low-rate podcaster, so that's not going to happen. But I just don't understand why he's done what he's done. Why he's okay with being in direct-to-DVD films when he could do something else. Oh my god. He's also, like, he had something to do with this book that I learned about, because it was written by the stupid sheriff, the foreword was written by the stupid sheriff that said some dumb ass things, and he's endorsed it. He endorsed the book. So Steven Seagal is just a terrible, oh my god. The only thing he has going for him is that he's vegetarian. Like, PETA likes him, but granted, I don't like what PETA does to their anything associated with this man is just not good. Like, anything with him. A movie, a book. He has accusations against him. And he's still doing stuff in Hollywood. I don't know why he has not been stopped. Stop Steven Seagal from making terrible movies, from doing stupid shit, oh my God. I'm sorry I'm yelling and I'm swearing, but this man has reduced me to just anger. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. But the Jarrett Cast has to go on. I have some exciting stuff coming up. I'm sorry this episode isn't structured that well, but I just need to tell people not to watch Steven Seagal movies. I don't even know who's going to watch this, but just don't watch Steven Seagal. Don't think about him. It's like the Bye-Bye Man. It's like the Bye-Bye Man. Don't think it, don't say it. Don't think about Steven Seagal. Don't say his name after this. Because I don't want to hear about Steven Seagal anymore. And I know I'm going to have to watch more crappy direct-to-DVD Netflix films. Actually, there's probably going to be an episode one day about this stupid movie I watched called The Prince, but that's a separate thing. It has Bruce Willis in it. But that's a separate thing. Just don't think about Steven Seagal. Don't say anything about him. Let the man fall even more into obscurity. Because I don't ever want to watch another movie with him in it ever again, and I don't want to know that one's being made. Because he's a lying sack of shit. He's a terrible actor. And I subjected myself to pure torture by watching his films. And his Aikido practices. And listening to his music. And his stupid Lawman TV show. And honestly, if he wrote a book, I probably would have bought it. I still might just for the meme, because I have DJ Khaled's book. But that's actually good. I should do a book review on that. So that's it for me bashing Steven Seagal. In other news, I have some exciting things coming up. There's going to be another Jarrett Cast I've planned. It's going to have a co-host, which is good because you probably don't want to listen to me talk about movies all the time. I should probably change it up a little bit, spice it up. And I'm thinking about bridging to other reviews. Specifically, right now I have my idea on food. It's a specific type of food. Once the episode comes out, you'll see it. But I'm thinking about starting it off as like an extra thing. We'll see though. We'll see. I have to take a look into things. But right now, reviews are going to be coming out more often, hopefully. I have a lot of free time this summer. All I do is paint, because that's what I do for work and for housing, is paint. So, I have a lot of time on my hands. So, there'll be more episodes, probably. New stuff I'm going to try to do. And I'm thinking about maybe moving to video sometime soon. I'm actually thinking about making a set. So, we'll see. But it's going to be interesting. That's what I can say about it. It's going to be definitely an interesting year for my podcast and potentially my web series. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching the Jarrett Cast. I'm your host as always, Jarrett Lang. And remember, if you see a film with Steven Seagal even like mentioned in it, if he's a producer, actor, if he wrote the script, don't watch it. I'm not kidding. Never even think about Steven Seagal. I know you're going to think and research him after this episode, at least maybe some of the people will watch it, but don't watch any of his movies, because I hate them. I hate every last one of them, except Under Siege, and maybe his ones from the 80s, like Hard to Kill, but I'd have to rewatch those. But yeah, don't watch them.